Hey everyone, this is Jaka from PokerPro, and today I have a pretty special guest with me. A big honor to have one of the most prominent poker players in Slovenia lately, Blaž Scarmak3r Žerjav. Well, speaking of which, we can say quite a prominent player who's slowly making a name for himself worldwide, actually. And he has just recently finished fourth in the Party Poker's WPT Main Event, which will be the topic of our conversation, but a little later on. So yeah, to get things started, first of all, hi Blaž, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me. Doing great, thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I kind of envisioned this to go from the beginning. So, I mean, probably most of the people already know your story kind of started a bit more than a year and a half ago, with you taking the third place in the biggest online tournament of all times, Party Poker's Millions online tournament. Now, besides the enormous prize of over $1 million, how has like that achievement changed your life? Like, how was it? Maybe even before it and after it. I know it created a lot of buzz. You were suddenly someone to take notice of. I remember you also being on Joe Ingram's podcast, for example, and stuff like that. So how was that experience for you?
The experience didn't really change my life as such. Like, I still live the same day to day as I did before. But it changed it in a way that I actually spent way more time playing poker and way more time studying poker. It kind of gave me fuel to try and achieve something like more, because of course that at the time that was one achievement. You could easily just say it's luck and everything. So I wanted to prove that it wasn't. And also at that time I was still studying and I was playing. I just quit playing football at that time, so I had more time actually. So the score really came at the right time.
Yeah, there's a couple of things you mentioned that I want to touch later on, but it's like really nice to hear that like it didn't kind of take your head over your heels, and that you may remain on the ground and kind of took it rationally, and kind of gave you fuel and motivation to actually achieve something more in poker.
I did receive a lot of messages from people who said that it was somewhere in the lines that I could just bet all on black, right, on the roulette, so double or nothing. But yeah, I don't think that's the way you want to approach the spot.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. There was kind of a funny story behind it. Just if we go a little bit back again, you even qualified to the tournament through a bunch of satellites, like starting at about $5 or something.
Yeah, I tried a lot of $5 of satellites. Eventually, I think it was the route starting from 22. So 22, 109, 1K, and then of course then the main event. It was quite a run, yeah.
Awesome. I mean, you always need a little bit of luck, I guess, with things like that,
sure.
right? On top of everything.
That's
great result. I know a lot of people maybe saw that thing as you just being really lucky, right? Like a one-time thing. But I think like over the course of this year and a half, I think it is pretty clear that you have proven them wrong, right? I mean, just, I don't know, a couple of examples. I know you won the biggest Winamax tournament to date. You did amazing at the WSOP events in August. You almost won a bracelet there, finishing, I think, 5th in a pot limit Omaha event.
True.
And for example, I don't know, even the recent one, right, being 4th at the WPT main event just a week ago. So like after that event, what has happened? Like, did you just focus on playing as many tournaments as you could, or did you just did you study the game more? Did you prepare more? Like, how was it for the past year in terms of poker?
I actually started studying a lot more. I just recently started using solvers and ICMI. Like I haven't used that software like for longer than half a year. I've been playing a lot more as well, but I would say that I have tried to limit myself on the number of tables I actually play, because before I could easily like register 10 tournaments, but then weren't able to play as good as I would like 6. So 6 tournaments at a time, and that kind of is my number for the tournaments I play now, 6 at a time. But yeah, I spent a lot more time studying the game and playing as well. So all in all, a lot more time went into poker.
Awesome. So you basically focus on less tables and having like more time or more focus to make more quality plays, if I understand.
That was my goal, because I made a lot of costly mistakes. When, I don't know, you're multi-table, you don't do as well, you don't pay as much attention. So that was my first issue that I tried to.
I think a lot of listeners here will be able to relate to that, having too many actions around you.
Yeah, it's not always good. Yeah,
exactly. Cool. One funny thing I wanted to ask you, I heard a lot of people actually calling you the Slovenian Feeder Holtz nowadays. How does that make you feel? Like, do you find it funny, maybe flattering?
It is. Yeah, of course it's flattering, because they compare me with with a beast, really, of poker. But I guess the only comparison is in the glasses. I always say that. Yeah, of course, it's an honor, but yeah, I'm nowhere close. So.
Okay. Since we mentioned feeder, like, do you have any role models in poker? Like anyone you aspire to be, or anyone specific you admire?
Feeder would actually be the one that. I mean, when I started playing poker, of course, there was the old names like Daniel Negreanu, Phil Hellmuth, and the old guard.
The old school,
but then when Feeder came on the scene, that was like instantly, like, I knew that he showed it was possible. He showed how good he can be. Even now, he kind of came out of retirement, right? And he still crushes the highest buy-in tournaments online, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, they're kind of the new breed of poker players, right, compared to the old school. And they're like, I mean, those are always going to be legends, right? But like, these young new guys are definitely kind of showing us that it's possible, right? So
yeah,
it's definitely an awesome person to aspire. Okay, anyway, now to the main topic of the interview, the Party Poker's World Poker Tour series. It just recently finished. You played in the series. Like, first of all, I wanted to ask you, like, with the current situation around the world, obviously the series was played online, right? I assume that was good for you, but like, on the other hand, like, if the situation was normal, did you have any plans in attending any of the live events around the world, for example, this year?
I was planning on playing the WSOP in Vegas, but when it was transferred online, it was actually a bit better for me. I haven't played that many live tournaments, and I feel a lot more comfortable online. So I guess it's an opportunity that, I mean, it never, of course, it never was before Hell Online, right? But yeah, I felt a lot more comfortable in those online tournaments that I would in live ones.
Yeah, that's definitely. It does make a difference, right? Like, the kind of a live play has its own laws and everything. But what about, like, for the future, when things go back to normal, do you plan on kind of focusing on live events also? There are quite a few kind of a prestigious series running every year.
I actually, my initial plan is to to start playing live poker a lot more. I'd love to, I like to travel, so I would love to combine that, travel and playing, right? So yeah, that would actually be my goal in the next few years, depending, of course, on how the situation in the world will be.
Yeah, great. Okay, back to the WPT series. Tell me, how many tournaments have you played? Probably the main event wasn't a single one. And are you happy with your results, like with your overall play throughout the series?
I played basically every main tournament. That would be all the 3Ks except the heads up.
Okay.
So in the other ones, I got 20th in the I think it was 8 max.
Yeah.
It was So that was the only other score I had in the WPT series.
Yeah.
But no, at that time I didn't play many of the smaller ones because I was mainly focused on playing the WSOP on GG.
Yeah.
I played some, but not like I didn't play the weekenders and stuff like that.
And obviously, playing less tables, you have to prioritize, right?
I was during the WSOP. I was basically 1 or 2 tabling, not doing any crazy grinds or anything.
Sounds like a great strategy. Your overall play, are you happy with it? Are there a lot of things you would do differently?
I mean, I would do. I mean, when I play, that's a good thing that I still spot a lot of mistakes. A lot of things I would do differently after I make a play, and instantly after 2-3 seconds, I'm like, what am I doing? Overall, I would be satisfied, but not in a way when I can say, okay, I played the whole series well. I made a few really dumb decisions. I fired, I think, 12 or 13 bullets in the median America, which is just ludicrous. But overall, I think I would be happy with most parts.
Okay.
But yeah, some went really bad, and with some my head wasn't in the right place.
So we can say there's a lot of room for progress, right? Which is
that's for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, now to the main event. 4th place, over $500,000 prize. Pretty amazing result, I would say. Looking back at it today, I assume you're happy with the result?
Of course, I'm happy. There's a pinch of salt, of course. When you're that close, of course, you want to win it. But yeah, I'm happy with the way it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching it. I know you suffered kind of a huge blow losing a coin flip, I think, ace king versus eights, and then pushing in the last hand and running into kings with your sixes, right? So we could say you missed a tiny bit of luck to go all the way. But what about overall play? Like, did you think you played well, maybe especially on the final table? Are there like maybe things you would do differently or?
I think I played okay. It's not like I made huge blunders. That's one thing I'm happy with, that I didn't really make any huge blunders along the way. But yeah, I was lucky at spots. I was over bluffing a bit, especially in day 1 and 2. There were many bluffs that actually went through. A lot of those small pots when I was probably over bluffing in a spot and putting pressure on people when it may not be the best play. It worked out. So
and those always, I feel like, make the difference, right? Those small pots, when they add up.
There was a lot of, in day 1 there was such a big amount of pots I won when I for instance I bluffed the river with ace high, that in different spots, of course, it's debatable. Sometimes you have showdown value, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can win in showdown, sometimes you cannot. I took a lot of those spots and they seemed to all worked. Like, that was just amazing. Like, pretty much all of them worked. So that was
cool. Yeah, but as I said, you always need that tiny little bit of luck, right? Even if you make a play that you think might not be the most optimal, it's always good.
To run deep in a big field tournament. You have to survive a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
So,
how does it feel to play such tournaments? Like, I mean, obviously with those buy-ins and those like prestigious titles to fight for, you play with the best poker players in the world, right? I don't remember the lineup. I know Dmitry Urbanovic was at the final table, for example, to mention someone. Do you feel any additional pressure, or is it like maybe more of a challenge for you to play versus those guys?
I take it more as a challenge. I actually prefer playing these tournaments over some $200 to $15 tournaments at Stars that I find really tough. Because in these tournaments you can apply a lot of pressure. Of course, because of the bigger buy-in, the prestigious nature of the event, and so on. And I kind of find it better to play than the smaller ones when it's just full of regs and so on.
So you could say you feel more at home with those things.
Yeah, actually I do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, really. It kind of suits me because, as I said, I often find myself over bluffing in spots, and when it's such a tournament that you can apply pressure to them, it can, and if you manage to wins a few pots in a row like that, then it really adds to your confidence and goes the chip stack.
I agree. Funny question. We mentioned Fedor Holtz as your kind of a role model. Have you ever had a chance to play versus him?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Something to look forward to in the future then.
Absolutely. Yeah. That would be
awesome. Yeah. I don't know. Congratulations again. Like, it's an amazing result. And I don't know, like for the end, maybe like what's next, Blaž? Like, what are your plans, goals for the future? Do you intend to kind of stay where you are, like in terms of tournaments? Are there any appetites for maybe a bracelet or something like that? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Appetites for a bracelet are always there. Of course, that would be a dream come true. But of course, in the future, I'd like to play more live tournaments, and that requires usually a higher buy-in. Of these live tournaments are higher buy-ins, so I would say, I'm planning on playing live tournaments more. Of course, going to Vegas if the chance appears. I don't know.
I would assume aspiring to get better every day at the game itself.
That is true. Yeah. Would love to get good one day. I mean.
Well, I mean, I think we can argue you are already good, but I mean, you can always get better, right? Let's say
that's like what I meant to say.
Yeah. Cool. One last thing, just out of curiosity, you mentioned football. I know you're quite a talented football player, and you actually played the sport on a rather high level. I mean, is that something you still want to do? Is that something that's a thing of a past now?
It's really I played mostly in second Slovenian division. But if I would want to do that, then I can't really devote that much time to poker. So I'm gonna have to choose one of the two. And at this time, poker has the advantage.
Obviously.
So
But I do assume it's still gonna be on the schedule for like a friendly match with your friends.
Absolutely, yeah. I love to go and play like once a week with friends. Really,
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, as I said, I wanted to keep it short to kind of make it interesting for our listeners. Thank you so much for your time. I want to congratulate you again on all your results in the past year and a half. And like, we're super excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been really nice. Yeah. So.
Great. Have a great day, Blaž, and talk to you later.
You too.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.